You and I have a rendezvous with destiny. We'll preserve for our children this, the last best hope of man on earth, or we'll sentence them to take the last step into 1,000 years of darkness.
You take on the intelligence community, they have 6 ways from Sunday of getting back at you.
We're living in a very dangerous time right now, and liberalism has lost their cotton-picking mind.
The Trump folks, if they found out how we knew what we knew about the Trump staff dealing with Russians, that they would try to compromise those sources and methods.
Nobody ever said anything about resisting Obama. They went at him on legitimate arguments.
I really do believe that much of what you saw coming out of Trump's mouth was a play from Putin's playbook.
Welcome to the Abolitionists Roundtable, your all-access pass to exposing fake news, the resistance, and the global elite's shadow government undermining American progress. Be a part of the conversation at 734-822-1600. And now, your all-American hosts, Del Marsh and Phil Stargell.
And good morning. This is the Abolitionist Roundtable. This is Phil Stargell. I'm your host today, and guess what? Co-hosting the show is Del Marsh.
Good morning, Phil.
Yeah, and we have on the left over there. Now I'm not gonna say on the left side of the political spectrum, but on my left,
you better not.
we have the official Art of Michigan monitor and an observer and chauffeur and chief bottle washer for the Abolitionist Roundtable. We have Gary this morning, and we want to thank Gary for just being an all-around good guy and bringing Del to the show every Saturday morning.
Yeah, I appreciate it too.
Because we sorely miss you, Del. You know. So anyway, I just want to get that in and tell people how grateful we are that our audience out there can provide some of the help and things that we need.
You're welcome.
And now what we need is our audience to guess what? We need them to come to the aid of the country. We need our listeners to come to the aid of the country and begin to tell the people in Washington just exactly what it is that we expect out of them and what we want out of them, because we have shown them time and time and time again that we want a resolution to this illegal immigration problem. And that is, I'm going to tell you, if you and I were to sit down and come up with the reason why we're in the pickle that we're in, it's because of this goes back to the Civil War. The Democrats have always been in a position where they do not want to follow the rules, and they want power. And they want to get power by any means necessary. And first and foremost, by any means, is illegally. I mean, they had the numbers in this country when we formed up this country, and they put off dealing with the problem of slavery. Mm-hmm. And the Republicans compromised with the Democrats on many occasions.
Pushed it off 20 years.
Mm-hmm. When it come time to deal with that problem of the slavery and how it was in conflict with what our founding documents said.
That's right.
All people being created equal, and and all of this. That was in direct conflict to own another man or another person.
That's correct.
And not only one or two, but millions. And then use them for political gain.
Oh, didn't they?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Once it was pushed off again, later on they want to make you one, they want to claim you as a whole person, but they didn't want to give you so that they can get their electorate.
But you get zero
votes.
So voting rights.
That's right.
And and then they turn around and use the wording of the compromise about 3/5 of a citizen to prove that this country was built on racism, and it is not the case.
And that was the worst compromise of all that the Republicans.
Well, there was another one that was pretty good too.
Because today, in modern times, liberals point to how Republicans compromised and only made you one, 2 or 3, what is it? 3/5 of a human being.
Yeah.
And so the Democrats have turned that around and blamed that on Republicans.
Yes, exactly right.
Today, and they manipulated that.
Yeah.
But and then on the other hand, what Republicans are not doing, and it's a shame, is not telling the history of it.
That's right.
Is that the reason why there was a compromise, because Democrats wanted to claim you but didn't want to give you a vote.
And not only that, they used it for political power. They used it to get legislation passed that was beneficial to preserving the concept of slavery as a expansion of the country itself.
Yes. Yeah.
With the border states and Missouri and all of the Missouri Compromise, and every time that these compromises were made, guess what? It was beneficial to the Democrats.
That's right.
But this is the portion of Black History Month, which is coming up. And I'm getting a little bit ahead of my agenda. But the Black history is going to be a big part of this program today. But I wanna get at the topic that is in the news, and that is illegal immigration and the proposal that President Trump put before the American people as a hope of first round of bargaining, because but this is, to me, is, and I think a lot of other people feel that this compromise is unnecessary. I think that Donald Trump may not realize that he has the best hand and he's in the best position, because he's got a lot of people and that back his position, not only white racist Americans, which is the attitude that Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer are pushing, that this is all because of racism. No, this is because he has a strong position, because you don't hear these numbers that I'm getting ready to read to you about what the people actually think. You've never heard, I've never heard one poll that says what the black opinion is on this immigration thing. It's all that that the Democrats are saying, basically, the black vote does what we tell them to do. And I'm wondering how it is possible for black Americans to be taken so much for granted, and they don't object to it. This is blatantly what has been termed as a low expectation of the black people in the country to want to achieve.
And that's why they separate themselves from us, Phil, as black Americans, and became African Americans. Yes. And with that logo of creating that African American logo, now that's become that low expectation, because we don't expect that.
No.
But the so-called African Americans are complicit in that and acceptance of that. And it's unfortunate. But when they do an actual poll, like you were saying, when they do an actual poll of them, polling where they have to independently think for themselves, is something totally different.
Yes, and I'm going to read these numbers. What I want to do, though, is we have a lot call on the line. I want to get to that caller.
Okay.
And then that way we'll sail through to the. Hey, we're going to go to line one with Bruce from Grosse Pointe Farms. Good morning, Bruce.
Good morning, Phil, and good morning, Dell. It's
What's
so good
up,
to hear
Bruce?
your voice again. How you doing, my friend?
Good, doing well.
Good morning.
You sound in good spirits. Are you doing the doctor tells you, keeping your weight, starting to get your weight back up?
Well, I went yesterday. I did go to chemo yesterday, and the last 2 weeks I didn't gain any weight. So he was a little disappointed. I was too. So my wife called. She went to Costco last night. All right, what you want me to get? And she loaded up the baskets.
You need a 50-pound drum of Joe Weider's super weight gain.
So well, yeah, she loaded up the basket.
It's great to hear your voice, and I'm praying for you every day.
I appreciate it. Thank you. But I feel well though after after that experience sitting under that chemo yesterday. For 3.5 hours. Thanks, Bruce.
Well, I could only imagine that, and I just certainly don't want to have that have that come this way. But
I don't want it either.
Yeah, I wanted to comment on this. You're talking about compromise and that type of thing. Look at the compromise that the White House has just come out with, a pathway to citizenship for as many as what could turn out to be 3.6 million illegals. Okay, I don't care what anybody says. These people are illegal aliens. They're now adults. They should know better, and they should be going back, getting in the back of the line like they should, and wait their turn like everybody else. But no, Schumer and Pelosi and all these people. I don't know what they're doing with Trump and that type of thing, but he cannot cave on this. Everything else is fine. The wall, ending chain migration. Ending this idiotic and dangerous lottery system.
They don't effectively end chain migration. What they do is they transfer especially the lottery. That I think that's 250,000 people a year or something like that.
Absolutely insane.
They transfer that to the people that were brought into the country from El Salvador, where they had a volcano or a earthquake or something like that. So they transfer and let those numbers go to those. So what you're doing is you're basically giving preference to this lottery that's already a farce as far as some kind of a way of making it advantageous for the country instead of for, just letting people in for purposes of a voting block, and that's basically what it is.
And also, guys, we got to remember that almost half of the people that are in here illegally right now, I think over 40%, are here because they've overstayed their visas and they haven't gone home.
That's exactly right.
Yeah. This administration needs to make it clear that these people have a date certain by which they either get their case resolved or leave, or they will be deported. We cannot continue to have this going on. You were talking about the black, the black aspect of things, and the thing is, because of all the things that are causing the premature deaths of so many black Americans, they have the second largest minority group, and the Democrats are basically showing their colors now. They're ignoring our black brothers and sisters, and they're going after a new voting bloc, which are the Hispanics.
Yeah,
and that's terrible.
And what I'm seeing is that they're ignoring what the opinion of black people in the various cities are saying. I have I really look very hard for this information, and I'm going to read that off, when in a minute. But not only black Americans are not happy with the amount of people that are coming in, even Hispanic and Latino people that are here and have come here legally are not happy, and they think that the amount of people that are allowed to come in legally is too much. So they're not too happy with the illegal.
Yeah, exactly.
Numbers.
And the thing is, I used to work with a guy who is of Hispanic descent. He and his family came in the right way. They did all the things, and we're talking going back about 20 years or so. We had this conversation,
yes.
And I asked him at the time what he thought about all this, and he said, "Bruce, this is a slap in the face to my family, to myself. We spent all this time trying to, spending the money, filling out the paperwork, waiting our turn." Being prepared to take citizenship courses to learn the language, learn the culture, and this type of thing. And he says, back then, this was a problem.
Yeah.
And he said, "It is a slap in the face to my people."
Well, Bruce, I'm going to read these numbers off. I got some more calls on the line. Yeah. I'm going to read these numbers off, and if you get a chance, you might want to call back in if you have a comment. But
sure.
These numbers, I think people need to hear, and I'm going to read them off.
Okay, well, one last thing. We have our first meeting of the year. The Tri-County Liberty Coalition is getting together in Royal Oak at the National Coney Island location, 1812 North Main Street in Royal Oak from 10 to 12. And we're going to be talking about
Is that today?
Well, yeah, and this is today, this morning from 10 to noon.
Okay.
And we're going to be talking about this stuff.
Yes.
As well as the fact that we have to start running against the left. Forget about party affiliation. We've got to start running against these leftists, and they're not liberals that are progressive. They are leftists. They are people that are cut from the same Stalinist, Leninist cloth.
Exactly right.
That we saw all these for over 100 years in the Soviet Union.
We've got to get the old coalition back together.
Yeah, we sure do, and we want to see you guys too.
Listen to these numbers.
All right, we'll
see what you think.
Okay, thanks, guys.
All
right, we're going to go to line 2 with Joe from Wyandotte. Good morning, Joe.
Good morning,
how you doing,
guys?
Good morning, Joe.
I wanted to talk about the wall portion of this supposed bad deal. But first, I said no, and I bleeping meant no. Mm-hmm. No amnesty, not now, not ever, period. No citizenship for these illegals, not now, nor a promise of it 12 years from now, not ever. But when are we going to learn and stop being played for suckers? Wow. Just because a DACA deal supposedly includes funding for a wall doesn't mean it ever actually gets funded. This is just like the 2006 deal where border fence was put into law and the money was never appropriated. There is to be no discussion, zero whatsoever, until there is a standalone appropriation bill of $25 billion on Trump's desk to be signed, and the wall actually started to be built.
Joe, I love your way of thinking.
In a perfect world, yeah.
I love your way of thinking. Yeah.
He's right. I know.
Put that funded on the desk first. Let them start on the wall, and then we can come back talk about everything
exactly
else.
Right.
In a perfect world, you could say, but these people are such, compromisers.
Well, guess what? See, Trump is he's the art of the deal, and he know the art of the deal that he got to try to get everything that he can first. So he not a negotiate better than he's negotiating right now.
Joe, have you heard any numbers of the other minority groups in the country and what they think about the immigration numbers that are coming into this country?
No, I haven't.
And it's very hard to hear them. The Zogby polling, it has been one of the most accurate polling companies going, and they have a poll out, and I'm going to read those numbers. And like I said, if you would be free to give back if you once you hear them and give your comment after I read them. But I'm gonna get with these numbers right now. So listen in and tell me what you think.
Thank you for your passion too this
morning. Thanks a lot.
That was great.
Okay, we'll talk to you later.
Okay, it says an examination of minority voters' views on immigration by Stephen A. Camarada. Sounds a little Spanish, doesn't it? But he's the director of research at the Center for Immigration Studies. And I've heard some stuff coming out of that group, and I didn't like those, what I heard out of them. But this poll, while it is sometimes assumed that minorities, particularly Hispanics, favor increased immigration and legalization for illegal immigrants, a new Zogby survey finds that minority voters' views are more complex. The poll of Hispanic, Asian American, and African American likely voters find some support for legalization, but overall each of these groups prefers enforcement and for illegal immigrants to return home. Moreover, significant majorities of all three groups think that the current level of immigration is too high. These views are in sharp contrast to the leaders of most ethnic advocacy organizations who argue for increased immigration and legalization of illegal immigrants. The survey used neutral language, avoiding such terms as amnesty, illegal alien, or undocumented. Among these findings, in contrast to the leadership of many ethnic advocacy groups, most members of minority groups think immigration is too high. And to prove that statement, it says Hispanics, 56% said it is too high, 7% said too low, 14% just right. This is what Hispanics in this survey said about legal immigration being too high. Typical. Asian Americans, 57% said immigration is too high. 5% said too low. 18% said just right. African Americans, 68% said it is too high. 4% said too low, and 14% said just that it was just at the right levels. Most members of minority groups do not feel that illegal immigration is caused by limits on legal immigration, as many ethnic advocacy groups argue. Instead, members feel it's due to a lack of enforcement.
Yes.
That is the thing that we have, and with a poll like this, if I had a poll like that and I had the authority, I'd be very, very reluctant to make a deal with Chuck and Nancy.
Yes.
Of anything other than, we're gonna cut back on legal immigration. We're gonna cut back on illegal immigration. We're gonna put up a wall, and I'm telling you, Nancy and Chuck, put up or shut up, because that's all you're getting. Yeah. That would be my answer to them. And what do? They come back and call people names. Yeah. Call you a racist. What Nancy Pelosi said. She should be run out of the House of Representatives for saying that kind of nonsense.
Well, it's just not them. They doing it too. I was just looking on Drudge, Phil, and just hear where's that boy at? It's people just saying all kind of nasty stuff, just to thinking they getting some kind of political points, to get some kind of leverage to manipulate. Again, it's to manipulate Americans. Eminem, this is from a NME.com. It's a music website. It says Eminem says a effing turd would run would be a better president than Trump.
Yeah.
What's up with this right here?
That is the typical.
What's up with this? This little kid.
Radical.
This little kid is a stupid.
They're just ignorant rappers.
And here we have the biggest economic
as you can hear,
boom right now.
we are going to a break. If you'd like to join the conversation, that number is 734-822-1600. We'll be back right after these messages.
You're listening to the Abolitionists Roundtable with your hosts, Del and Phil. They're exposing the left's underground resistance while leading the charge in the fight for liberty. Join the conversation at 734-822-1600.
Hello, I'm Milt, and this is, logically speaking, Uncensored. The Democrat Party, demonic masters of racism and shameless hypocrisy. People without scruples are incapable of having a moral consciousness of shame. This axiom fit the Democrat Party perfectly because their pigmentation politics make them masters of racism. To illustrate this axiom, on Monday, 13 January 2018, people across the nation celebrated the life and civil rights achievements of Reverend Martin Luther King. In the forefront of the celebrations with pious words of praise was the ruling hypocrites of the Democrat Party. Unless you know the Democrat Party racist history, it's easy to believe that their praises of Reverend King, even as white supremacist advocates, were sincere, and that they supported civil rights for blacks. However, in reality, they hated Reverend King and everything he stood for. But today, they shamelessly perpetuate the myth that they loved him. Reverend King, in his historic speech, "I Have a Dream," said people should be judged by the content of their character, not the color of their skin. But preceding the date of Reverend King's celebration, President Trump articulated the need for a merit-based immigration policy. Allegedly, in his rhetoric, he mentioned the lack of merit from such defecation nations as Haiti, El Salvador, and places in Africa. Being the hypocrites that they are, the Democrat Party negated Reverend King's character proclamations by giving political assassin Dick Durbin the task of using skin color to condemn President Trump as a racist. Durbin's racism accusation revealed the shameless hypocrisy of the Democrat Party, because if President Trump was a racist, which he is not, his racist indoctrination would be the product of the Democrat Party, who for hundreds of years before President Trump or his parents were born was in the business of teaching racist politics, denigrating blacks and putting slaves in chains. Therefore, the Democrat Party is responsible for racism in America. The Democrat Party supports illegal immigration and shamelessly disregard and violate constitutional laws. The Democrat Party believes it's incorrect to prohibit abortions and female genital mutilations while hypocritically claiming they are for life and the protectors of girls. Muslims call America Big Satan, and the Democrat Party say promoting Christianity and rejection of communism, fascism, and the welfare state make the United States a hellhole. If true, why would people living in a paradise come to America unless they have the character flaws of insanity? With the insanity of Maxine Dirty Water, who calls President Trump scum and despicable, and Hillary Clinton, who called Americans deplorable, and President Ali Obama, who called Americans mongrels, the nation has enough insanity. And And whatever President Trump said regarding certain places and nations, it's insignificant compared to the evil expressions of hate from Democrat Party demonic masters of racism and shameless hypocrisy. I am Milt, logically speaking, uncensored, saying, think about
it. Higher.
And that was a very, very good commentary by Milt, as usual. And he hits the real points, and he always puts it right like it is. So, Milt, again, another sterling commentary.
That was
Thanks
right on
again.
time. Matter of fact, that's so on time. It's right in line with what you're talking
Exactly
about today
right.
too.
Exactly.
And that just lets you know that we all thinking alike. We're like-minded. Here, before you do that, real quick. Phil, I just want to mention that Milt gave me something. I want to thank Milt for. He gave me this. He sent me a note and said that a friend of ours, Gary Devine, you know Gary.
Yes.
Gary Devine, he put my name because I have some little health issues. I'm waiting on my manifestation on my healing. And he put me on at his church. Their prayer list at St. On Catholic Church in West Bloomfield. He put me on their prayer list. I want to say thank you very much to Gary Devine for putting me on the prayer list over there and passing that note on to Milt for me also. And then we're going to go to the news desk for 1 second, Phil. We're going to let Gary go ahead and make his announcement, and then we're going to get to all our calls that's on the line too.
Yes, please. Go to artofmichigan.com and stand with Del Marsh and his cancer fundraiser that we're doing for him and what he's going through. We really need your help and support. And not only that, but also the radio show can use your help and support too. And on artofmichigan.com, you'll see a lot of good, useful information. So we really would appreciate it, standing with Del and the show. With prayer and support. Well, we really appreciate it. We
thank you very much for
Gary.
that very, very good assessment of where we are. Thanks a lot. We are going to go to back to the agenda here, and I just wanted to say that. Bruce is on the line. I'm going to put him back on because I want him to respond to these numbers because I'm going to tell you, I have not seen these numbers. Only thing I keep hearing is that these DACA kids, and most of them are close to 30, are, victims of racism on the part of the commander-in-chief. And I think that that line of thought coming from the U.S. House of Representatives and the U.S. Senate I think it's time for somebody to say, stop calling the names and let's get down to some protection of this country. Because if you don't protect anything else, let's protect our documents, our Constitution of the United States, because that's the only thing that's going to save this country. Because I'm telling you, if we allow another amnesty program such as the one that came about after Ronald Reagan trusted the Democrat Party and compromised and allowed almost a blanket amnesty, and what they did was this was for, at that time, 2 million people that were known to be illegally in the country. They gave amnesty to them. That 2 million has turned into 48 million known Hispanics in this country, and now we're talking about anywhere from 11 to 25 million more that have come over. And they talk about these DACA kids coming here through no fault of their own. Well, what about all of those people that we've seen riding on top of the trains? How did they get into the country?
We watched
if it wasn't?
You're right. I remember watching that.
And look what the dilemma this causes this country.
Yes.
When you have those massive numbers of people in here, overstaying visas, whatever, just walking across the border in any way, shape, or form. I know people say it's possible, but how do you round up that numbers of people and deport them? And that's always the confusion it causes.
You could do it if you didn't have people doing things like sanctuary cities and sanctuary states, where they're actively fighting the federal government to keep these people here, and then expecting you and me to, through our taxpayer dollars, to feed and house them because they want the votes.
Yeah. Exactly. Phil, not only illegal aliens does a lot to hurt this country. For one, they bring in and they destroy our culture.
Yes,
that's number one. The second thing, they bring in diseases. We no longer we don't examine people for diseases anymore like we used to. Matter of fact, when you get married now, you don't even have to take a blood test. This is insanity.
Yeah.
They destroy our medical system. Hospitals are overburdened right now by illegal aliens.
And the schools. We just lost the contract with Amazon because of our school's poor performance.
And you know why of the poor performance? One of my neighbors that stay next to me, they still want to teach their daughter Arabic as a first language, English as a second language.
Yeah, exactly.
And so, they try to help my daughter learn Arabic. No. She can learn it as a second language and she's going to learn that in school. But no, see, so this is another problem with the school systems. Now the school is in there. They got to fight with this English, trying to teach English first before they can get to the math and the science and other things.
Not really willing to conform.
And I'm gonna just name one more off my list: human sex trafficking.
Yes.
That's the number one. And we have a big problem with that here in Michigan.
Yeah.
That comes through this illegal immigration.
Exactly right.
What's the phone number, Phil? And we need to hear from people. What's the phone number again?
If you'd like to join this conversation, that number is 734-822-1600, and we're going to get back to the phones right now. And we're going to go, first of all, I'm going to go to Gary right quick from Hazel Park. Good morning on line 2, Gary. Good morning, Gary.
Hey, gentlemen.
Good morning, Gary.
This is just typical. Here we are another year and another round of fruitless talks by Washington in a series of events that they could have stopped decades ago. So we're just looking at dysfunctional government not doing its job. Immigration is just one of several examples of the dysfunctionality of our government, including the debt and our education system. And quite literally, the Democrats cannot allow victory here because they are trying to keep their voting base alive.
That's right.
If we win this and we shut down the border, they will cease to exist over time.
Yeah.
And the thing that Donald Trump has to do is stand strong, like I think Joe said, but also campaign for a 60-vote majority.
Yes.
Tell us out there that we can't do it because the Democrats are standing in the way, obstructing, and we need the votes. So just do that, stand strong, tell them we'll do it when we get the votes, and do it when you get the votes.
I agree with that. Because what they're proposing, I do not like at all, because it's going to make the problem worse. And guess what? They will figure out a way, because the base might leave Donald Trump on this issue. He's got to understand that. I mean, I hear people all the time talking about if this goes through, I'm not voting for Republicans. And man, now if you let the Democrats get back in there, guess what? You'll never have another chance at it.
Right. This is our best and only chance right now. The nation is on the precipice of destruction.
That's right.
It's been that way for a decade now.
Yeah.
And we're just now starting to fight back in a real, honest way.
Yes.
We can't give up. We can't stop.
Yeah.
So it's up to us, like like you guys have been saying, just to fight on and fight on.
Well, Gary, we need to get out there and make our voice known that this is what we want, and I'm ready to do it. So thanks a lot. I'm gonna get to this Lex call, and then Bruce. Good morning again. What did you think about those numbers?
Well, I'll tell you what. I don't know if there's anything I can add to it.
Yeah.
I heard it. I heard those numbers cited on another broadcast earlier in the week.
Mm-hmm.
And the stunning thing really is that like you were citing the black and even Hispanic and even the Asiatic attitude on this, and it just shows that our politicians are not listening to us.
That's right.
We need to go over the heads of Nancy and Chuck and Paul and Mitch and all these people that really are working surreptitiously behind, sometimes out in the open, to thwart the president's agenda. I think he really does not want to have this. He wants to have the wall built, and so he's kind of backed into a corner now. Again, you cannot grant citizenship to these people ever. Because of the past, this whole thing that's been going on. You got to call the White House switchboard, go directly over the heads of Congress and Senate, get right to the president, the guy who's really supposed to be in charge here, and say, look, don't listen to Jared, don't listen to Ivanka, don't listen to your people who are the open borders crowd. Yeah. And this guy, I forget what his name is, that announced this the other day. I heard the guy's name on Mark Levin's program, but I can't think of the guy's name, but he's the one that wants to roll this thing out on Monday.
Okay, look, Bruce. Here's the thing: what we need to do is just get out there. I want to get to the rest of these calls, but we gotta get out there, and so I'm recommending everybody come out to your meeting today, and then let's start this thing up and let's get at it.
Yeah, exactly. This is time is of the essence. Like Gary said earlier, just before my call back. Yeah. He said this is the last chance we have.
Yes.
And if we blow this, then it's going to be well nigh impossible to get another.
All right, Bruce. Let me get to this last call.
So far.
All right, I will talk to you maybe later on this afternoon. This morning.
We'll see you in a couple hours. Take care.
Okay,
all right, bye-bye.
Okay, we're going to go to line. Well, we're going to hold on there for a minute until it clears in. But the one thing that I wanted to make sure that I got across to the people, these are the major groups in this country, but you don't see the Arab vote, which is getting to be a very prominent vote.
It is.
And that is because they're set to overtake the Jewish vote in population in very few maybe by the next election.
I don't know if it's that big yet. It's going to be that in the next 4 years. You're saying?
Yeah.
But we'll look into it and we'll see what the numbers is.
We'll keep. Okay, we are going to go to line 2, and we got Elizabeth from Beverly Hills. Good morning, Elizabeth.
Beverly Hills.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
I've been your friend for years, and I just wanted to let everybody know that there's a huge Christian conservative event up in Mount Pleasant this coming weekend called Battle Cry.
Yes.
And Corey Lewandowski is speaking on Friday night, and Dinesh D'Souza is going to be there on Saturday with a lot of other conservative information. And then on Sunday, there's something called FACL, Foundation for Applied Conservative Leadership, to try to teach us Christian conservatives how to be as fierce as the people that we're fighting up against.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a wonderful activity.
That is.
If you're interested in going, and it really will, it'll be the biggest group of conservative Christians, about 500 people will be up at the Spring Eagle, and you can go to battlecrymichigan.com.
Okay. Hey, do me a favor. Could you send that to our email address, to artofmichigan@hotmail.com? and we can share it with some of our friends too.
Wonderful. I will do that, and I'll forward it to Gary and Bruce just in case I get it through to you.
All right. Yeah, but just send it. You can send it directly to me at art@waamradio.com. That's ART at WAAMradio.com.
Okay.
And Phil and I get that directly.
Wonderful. I will do that right now.
Okay. Now, did you have a comment or question that you had?
Well, I've been listening this morning, and I agree with everything that you have to say, and I'm also a big Patrick Colbeck supporter.
Yes.
So
we are too.
Yes.
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 Yep, I became his Oakland County volunteer chair this past week.
Oh, awesome. Yeah. Thank you very much. Yes, thank you.
So I'm out there fighting. Patrick is probably one of the most godly human beings I've ever
seen.
Yeah. So my friends are like, I can't believe you took that on, but how could I not?
Yeah, and I'm glad you're out to helping Patrick, because I noticed that right now Patrick's name is not mentioned much. Of course, our Attorney General. I mean, he's my buddy. I love him. Yep. His name is being mentioned more. His name is being mentioned all the time, but Patrick's is not at all. And so we're gonna support him. We're gonna support Patrick all the way through this.
We have a big campaign going on. I'm actually going to someone's store today to meet with her. She's a major fundraiser for him, and we are going to be having mobile billboards for Patrick. We're going to be seeing his picture and information in the back window of our vehicles and driving around town. We have people who are going to be starting to walk the neighborhoods. We had a wonderful meeting at Norks this past week with Patrick. We got some wonderful business owners who are going to be really working hard to get his name out there.
Well, you sound like you have got a very good handle on it.
Yes.
I just would like to ask you one quick question. Had you heard those numbers about the minorities and what they think about this legal and illegal immigration?
Yes, I listen to WAAM and other conservative radio all day. Dave Rohn is one of my favorite people also. I'm a huge conservative radio person.
Okay.
Yep. It's amazing how many people don't have a clue about it, though, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Yes.
But you know what? It is a concerted effort on the part of people to suppress this type of information and get this information out about these are kids. These are not kids. These are some of these people are even shady characters, and they're acting as if that this is the treasury that we've opened up and allowed these
grown adults
people to come into the country. Listen, thanks a lot for your call this morning. We are really excited about the efforts that you're doing and on behalf of Pat Colbeck, because we think he's an outstanding candidate and an outstanding person.
Yes, he is, and I will go ahead and get this information to you right away.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And one of the things that I didn't get a chance to get to was and I'll get to it next week about some of the abuses that happens when you allow one party to assume control over a whole portion of the country, like the Democrats held for over 100 years in the South through Jim Crow law. And some of the atrocities that were committed by the Democrat Party have been able to slide through under the radar, because what they do is they do things like tearing down statues and stuff like that, but they don't tell you why these statues should be torn down. And so we need to make sure that we take advantage of this year, this month, in Black History Month, to tell some of these stories.
Yes. Thank you, Phil.
And we are going to do that.
Yes. All right, folks, go to our website, artofmichigan.com, if you'd like to support the radio show. We'll talk to you next week.
The Abolitionist Roundtable invites the WAAM TALK1600 listeners to continue the roundtable discussions by mailing correspondence to Art of Michigan, Post Office Box 135, Garden City, Michigan 48135.
Or follow Phil and Del at artofmichigan.com. You can also send emails to artofmichigan@hotmail.com. And most of all, continue to listen every Saturday and tell a friend.